Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. I didn't film for a few weeks and the reason for that is that I got COVID, so I was pretty sick. And then the next week was just really busy with the work practice. I just really didn't have the energy to be filming and editing. So I am here now this week answering the questions that you all asked on YouTube and Instagram. So this video is kind of like get to know me Q&A. Some people asked multiple questions and some people only asked one question, so this is just mix and match of all the questions that were asked. So first question is, how are you? Well, I am a little bit tired of the work practice, but other than that I am doing good, thank you. Second question, what's your favorite type or types of tea and / or beverages? I would say that my favorite teas are black teas with some sort of flavoring. English tea and Scottish tea are definitely one of my favorites. Like black tea with cardamom is really common in Middle East. Other than tea, I think I really like just lemonade or water with just a little bit of lemon. I think those are my favorite beverages. What languages do you know? I know Finnish, which is my mother tongue, and English, obviously. Those are the only languages that I speak. Well, Finnish, like fluently, obviously, and English I consider like okay fluent, but I definitely understand more and I can read more, but my vocabulary is smaller when I'm having a conversation. But yeah, I can get by pretty easy with English, I would say. I'm also studying a little bit of Spanish at the moment. I know a little bit of Swedish and tiny bit of Arabic, and those are the languages that I know. What is your favorite food? This is a really difficult one. A little backstory for this one is that when I was younger, I used to be really picky. Until my young adult life, I've been really picky with the food that I eat. And then there was this like funny thing that, for example, I would like chocolate and cookies, but I didn't like chocolate cookies. Or I would like cheese and pasta or bread or something, but I didn't like the cheese on the bread, or like melted cheese, like anything with melted cheese, lasagna, pizza, I didn't like. I think that the first pizza that I ever ate was when I was around 21 or 22 years old. My mom said that the day that I learned to eat pizza, we will go to Italy. And my mom said that those were the most expensive pizzas that she ever bought me. Anyway, the favorite food of mine would be like pasta. I think just because you can make so many different kinds. I just think pasta is my favorite because you can just variate very different recipes with it. But I do also really enjoy pizza, funny enough. I really like Asian food too and Middle East food. What is my favorite color? Red. What is my favorite song? I have two songs that are pretty tight. So the first one that's been my favorite for the longest time is Flogging Molly, If I Ever Leave This World Alive. And a very close second would be Eddie Vedder's Rise. So those are the two favorite songs that I have. Have you considered or are you considering getting another dog? Honestly, I don't think that I am. One is enough. Next question. What's your thoughts on LGBT community? Well, for my opinion, love is love. And that sums it up, I think. But there is a story that I want to tell here. So I was scrolling through TikTok and I came across this video where this lady that works in a kindergarten had a conversation with one of the kids there. And the kid asked something as kids usually do, like, do you have a boyfriend or something, from this lady. And the lady replied like, no, I don't have a boyfriend, I actually don't like boys that way, I like girls. And then the boy went like, does that mean that boys can like boys too? And the lady went, yeah, that means boys can like boys too. And then the kid just said, well, isn't that lovely that people have more people to love? And I think that was just really beautiful way of putting it. Yeah, I think it's important that everyone can love whoever they want. So that's my thought on LGBT community. Do you always want to live in Finland, or is there somewhere you want to move? Those who don't know, I have actually tried to live abroad for a while. In 2017 I moved to Scotland, but I didn't have a clear plan what I wanted to do there, so after a year I ended up moving back to Finland. I ran out of money and I lost my job, had a breakup too, so I just kind of didn't feel like staying there. Knowing now that it was probably mostly of a culture shock on its peak, and I just gave up before dealing with it. I didn't know at the time that... What was the question? And I definitely don't want to live in Finland forever. There are multiple places that I would want to move, or where I would want to live for a while. And Scotland is definitely one of them, or England. Maybe I want to move to America for a while, live there. Also, lately I've been feeling that I want to go somewhere like Europe, like, I don't know, Spain or France or something like that. But yeah, I have always felt this connection towards the UK, so that's probably somewhere that I would see myself living for a while, or have like two homes, one in Finland and one in there. It's convenient as well because it's close by. It only takes like 1 to 3 hours to fly depending where I'm going. And before it was even easier because it was part of EU, but now it's getting a bit more tricky. I might need a visa in the future, but still it's much closer and in a way easier at the moment than for example, America. How many tattoos do you have? I think around 17. Some of them are really small ones and some of them are big ones. I am planning to make a tattoo video and show all my tattoos and maybe go through a little bit of the reasons, the stories why I have them. If that's something that you're interested, please give a comment below. Favorite movie? See, I like this question, but I also hate this question. Like, it's just really difficult to say only one favorite movie because I love so many. But if I would have to pick, I don't know if I'm able to pick one. Can I pick two? Like, I think... This is so difficult. I'm gonna name two because, you know, I'm a rebel. One of them is Eat, Pray, Love, and the second is Before Sunrise. If I would have to pick two, those are the two that I would pick. Now, this is a question I get asked a lot in different forms. People ask if I could go traveling with my tiny house, and the answer is no. Unfortunately, I can't. The tiny house is not really designed to be moved a lot. It's really heavy and it needs to be moved with a tractor. And the reason why I didn't build it here on the farm is because I want that flexibility to decide another city where I can live in Finland. The tiny house that I have is not designed to be traveled with, but I know that some people have built smaller tiny houses, lighter tiny houses that are moved with a car and more designed to be moved as like traveling purposes. Where is the fireplace taking the input air? I thought it would be easier to answer this while showing the fireplace and talking about it there. So here's the clip to answer that question. So this is the fireplace. and the pipe goes all the way up and out from the ceiling. Inside, this is where it gets the input air, I think. I can either open it that way to create a smaller hole, or this way to create a little bit bigger one. But still, when I open the door, the air hole is right next to the box that gathers all the ashes. And this can't come too much outwards, otherwise the door won't shut. So I'm not really quite sure how that's supposed to work as an airflow. So what I usually do is I keep the door slightly open when I'm starting the fire. So that kind of helps the airflow. And it's weird because I feel like it needs more air. So if I open it, it works. And the fire is like more steady. But if I close it, it either dies out or flames will go up like really fast. And the wood burns really fast, so it doesn't attach to the wood. Also on the pipe is this closing mechanism. So when it's like this, it means that the little metal is facing this way, covering up the airflow, and this is how it will be upwards, so the pipe gets more an airflow. And sometimes when using this one to kind of move it around, I can help the fire starting, but still it really depends on the weather outside. And that is the length of the pipe outside. Beyond that, I don't know why the fire is not starting very well. So there it was. I hope that gave a little bit clearer idea what's the problem with the airflow that I talked about in my tiny house winter living video. And also related to that question, the person asked, would it help to open a window or a door? And yes, I guess a little bit, but it's the same kind of problem that with opening the fireplace little door. So I haven't noticed any significant difference. Where did you get information about building a tiny house? I'll just honestly scrolling down YouTube, watching a ton of different videos about it. One of my favorite channel is Living Big in a Tiny House, I think, or something like that. I put the name here. I can put a link in the description box. It's this Australian guy traveling around filming people and their stories and their tiny house, and I found it really interesting to see all the different kind of interior designs and outdoors what people have planned their tiny house to look like and why they have built it the way they have, and just it gave me so much inspiration to think through what I want and what kind of layout I want in my tiny house, what's convenient for me, what's just aesthetically something that I like, and these sort of things. So that was the first step for me, to just see what kind of buildings, what kind of tiny houses other people have. Once I made the decision that I want to build a tiny house on my own, I did a more research on how to build tiny houses, and I watched videos about that, and I joined Facebook groups, one like a Finnish group. I actually also took a tiny house building course, like online course. It was taught by this German guy, I believe. If I can find the information, I will link that below as well. Yeah, and also I tried to find articles of other people building it in Finland specifically, because I found a lot of videos from Canada, UK, America and Australia, but some of the building solutions were not possible in Finland since the weather is so different here. So I needed information about building a tiny house here and how that would work. Instagram and Pinterest were good places to find inspiration, but also some hardcore knowledge of how I could, for example, insulate my tiny house, what kind of heating I would choose to my tiny house, where to storage things, what kind of toilet I wanted, and these sort of things. I also watched videos about converting traveling vans, so that also helped, especially with getting ideas on using all this like tiny space, so I wouldn't have any like wasted space. What does your parents think about the tiny house and you living so near? Well, first they weren't too happy about it, I would say. I guess they was just kind of scared how that would be possible, or if that would be the right decision for me to waste my money on. The concept was really new to them, so I did need to kind of explain why I want to do this and why it would be my choice and why I would be happy by building a tiny house. And I actually told my dad first that I wanted to build a tiny house. He's really handy with building, and I wanted to ask if he wanted to help me to build a tiny house, and we would build it at the farm. And I got him on board, and then I told my mom that we were planning to build a tiny house with dad. Yeah, in the end they were both fine and really excited, and they started telling other people like, oh, our daughter is building his tiny house on wheels and it's so exciting. I think because they are just different generation and tiny houses are not very common in Finland yet, that first it was kind of weird concept to my parents to understand, but they came around and they helped me a lot for my dream to come true. And what they think about me living near, I don't think they mind. I think they like it. Because I can help around with some farm work, and for example now I'm house sitting while they're in Spain. They're actually coming back tomorrow, and soon I will be moving back to my tiny house. A few more questions left. Have I already planted seeds like chili and pepper? Yes, I have indeed. I did it last month. What do I dream about? I dream about being happy. My dream is to be happy and try to live a balanced life with myself and with people around me and with the planet Earth. I wish that people would find a way to love each other more, to love the nature and the planet more. I dream about maybe one day building a van and go traveling in the world. I dream about traveling to all countries in the world. That might be a little bit unrealistic, but it's a dream, so I can dream about that. I definitely do not dream about spending all my days at work just to get money to afford the house that I'm paying just because I have to work. That's definitely not my dream. The last question is what I wish my life would look like in 5 years. Pretty much same as the dreams that I have. I kind of wish that I have my tiny house, so I would always have a home to come back to. I see myself living in my van somewhere in the world. I think in 5 years that will be achievable dream goal of mine. And I can kind of spend time like working sometimes and saving money, and then going to travel, and then the rest of the time be living in my tiny house. Kind of wish that I would have land and have like a little tiny house community there and still like travel on the side. So something like that, I think. As long as I'm happy and not too scared to do the things that I want to do and that things that make me happy, then I'm good. So those were all the questions. Thank you so much for asking these questions. It was fun to answer them. I hope they gave an idea what kind of person I am. And if you have any more, just comment them down below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a great weekend ahead. Sorry that there was no videos on the 2 weeks before. Soon after the work practice ends in this month, I will have more time to focus on making videos. But for now, I'm focusing on getting the work practice done and graduating from school next month, and then the world is free again for the future dreams for me to do. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!